hands. Because they took the Roman mint and they just began counterfeiting Roman coins. In fact, the word fulus, which is the word for money, comes from the Roman folus, which was one of the coins that they were counterfeiting. Those Arabs walked into Gondishapur after conquering it. And they turned to the Persians and they went, "What's that?" And the Persians go, "It's an academy." The Arabs go, "Cool, what is that?" They go, "It's a repository of all the knowledge of the world that we know of." And the Arabs go, "Show us." And the Persians go, "What choice do we have? Take them in." And the Arabs go, "Teach us." And the Persians go, "What choice do we have? We will." It takes a while. It doesn't happen right away. But in the 8th century, Al-Kindi begins converting these texts from Greek to Arabic. And that's a huge leap because now it means a larger portion of the population can start to read them. A guy named Al-Khwarizmi, a Persian, a Muslim Persian in the Arab Empire, decides to start focusing heavily on Hindu mathematics. Al-Khwarizmi invents algebra and Arabic numerals. So the next time you're doing math, remember to thank Al-Khwarizmi that you're not using an abacus to do Roman numerals, which are impossible. Really try. Set up Roman numerals, put a minus sign under it, and try and subtract Roman numerals from Roman numerals. You'll tear your hair out. Forget multiplication and division. Al-Khwarizmi creates a math system that you can work on. He's so advanced, he invents algorithms 1,200 years ago. In fact, algorithm was the Roman attempt to say his name. Al-Khwarizmi, algorithm. So every time you say algorithm, you're actually saying this Persian philosopher's name. Then, in the 10th century, there's a guy named Farabi. The Romans call him Farabius, or Al-Farabius, because the Arabs called him Al-Farabi. Farabi realized that he had a problem. He wanted to talk about everything and anything under the sun. He wanted no limits. He was a polymath. He wanted to talk about psychology and politics. He wanted to do astronomy. He wanted to do religion. He knew he was eventually going to step on somebody's toes and he was going to get it. So what he did was he wrote all the books he wanted to, and then he put it in his will that when he died, they would get published. And so as a result, we don't really know as much about him because during his lifetime, he spent it as like a gardener. And what he would do is he would garden at the palace, and he would listen to all the political conversations inside, pretending that he's tending to the roses or something. But in reality, he was writing it all down. He's going to ask really strange questions, questions that maybe not many folks had asked before. So when the Persians made their empire, they did something completely unexpected, completely bizarre. When you would get conquered by Kurosh the Great or subsequent Persians, you weren't subjugated, enslaved. You became a partner of the empire. In other words, you were in a good place being conquered. It wasn't that horrible. Which is strange, because that's usually not how it is. In fact, Kurosh insisted on the diversity being held up. If you go to Persepolis, Takht Jamshid, if you go to Persia, I went in 2002. It's fantastic. Good luck getting a visa. It was a nightmare. I'll never try again. It's not going to happen. I give up. But if I could go again, I would definitely do it. When you get to Takht Jamshid, there's walls that show people in every kind of dress imaginable because it's a celebration of the nations. The Romans erected a monument to the massacre of the Dacians. I'm pretty sure that in Rome there is the only monument commemorating genocide. It's still there. You can go see it. It's in your art textbook. Your art history textbook, they show you the bottom parts. They never show you the top. Because the bottom parts of the tower show the Roman army getting together to go, and everybody's excited about that. At the top, it shows the genocide. The Arabs are like the Persians. They didn't reject the different cultures. They didn't reject the different religions. They embraced them and they accepted them. And they said, yeah, cool, keep doing your thing. If you want to convert, do it. In other words, this wasn't a forced empire like so many empires in our history. Al-Farabi asks a question, though, that throws everybody off. Because, so, if I say you're tolerant, that doesn't mean you love the other guy. We should be a tolerant society. That's a really low bar, right? Tolerant is, yeah, the world would be better if you weren't here, but I guess I'll tolerate you. That's not especially amazing when a person says, I'm tolerant of others. What I think would be really amazing is if you said, I really love others. That's a different level. And Al-Farabi asks that question. And he does it in a way that makes everybody uncomfortable. So the first two names of God, God has 99 names, Rahman Rahim, the beneficent and the merciful. And it's pure mercy, it's not human mercy, right? Where you surrender to me and I'm like, I could kill you, but I guess I won't. Not that, it's pure mercy. The 50th name is Al-Haq, which means the truth. Al-Farabi asks the most annoying question ever. If God is beneficent and He's merciful, then why on earth are only 20% of the world's population Christians, Jews, and Muslims? Because in Islam, right, it's built in that Christians, Jews, and Muslims can get to heaven. In fact, they expanded it to include Zoroastrians. What about the other 80%? Did God set them up to fail? It's not their fault that they don't know about the three Abrahamic religions. So is God condemning them to all eternity in hell? This is why He couldn't publish while He was alive. And then He goes, I have no choice but to believe that God gave Hindus Hinduism, and God gave Zoroastrians Zoroastrianism, and God gave Buddhists Buddhism. But if God is Al-Haq, if He's the truth, He can't possibly have lied to them. Therefore, every religion must have access to heaven. Therefore, every religion should get equal respect. In fact, he went one step further and said, when you think about it then, the only way to truly know God would be to know every religion. He starts a whole movement. The Sufis go, oh wow, that's amazing. No bounds on what we can study. We can go learn yoga from India and bring it back. Al-Farabi wasn't just a polymath, he was a genius. And the way I can be certain in that statement was because of the following. So there's another Persian, his name is Ibn Sina. Ibn Sina says to us that I read Aristotle 40 times. Now, he didn't read Aristotle 40 times. We actually don't know how many times he read him. I read Aristotle 40 times was an idiom. It meant I memorized Aristotle word for word. When he said I read Aristotle 40 times, what he meant was, you can tell me the politics, page 5, 3rd chapter, and he could tell it to you word for word. He had the text memorized in his head. He said, after saying this, I don't know what it says. I'm sure there's some incredible genius here. I can't tap into it. The words don't make sense. The reason the words didn't make sense was they were idiomatic. That is to say, Aristotle taught in idioms. Well, he taught in idioms that by the 1st century AD were now 1,000 years old.